already. Good afternoon. Welcome to the work session for Thursday, September the 27th. I'm Vicki Anderson, filling in for the chairman, who is with his father, and we hope that he's doing well. And so anyway, welcome. And the first on the agenda, you said Mr. Hughes not here yet?
He's with Betty Cason finishing up something, so if we can move to the second agenda item, please.
Is Mr. Coward here? Yeah. Mr. Coward, would you mind going next? Our first? This is Scott Coward, Superintendent of Carroll County School System. Welcome.
I could probably project without it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good rainy afternoon out there. I forgot my umbrella, so I got a little wet coming in, but it's good to be here. We appreciate this opportunity. We try periodically to come before the county commission to share updates about the Carroll County school system and just have the opportunity to discuss with you the good things that are happening and see if you've got any questions or things that you'd like for us to work with or work into. Before I get started with my update, though, I would like to introduce some of people that we have with us today. We have two of our board members. We have our board chair, Mr. Bart Cater from the Bowden District, and we also have Mr. Bryant Turner from the Central District. In addition to that, we have Charity Aaron, who's our Director of Partnerships and Communication. She also oversees our Performing Arts Center, so we appreciate them being here. As I said, I wanted to give you an update on the school system. I came about 18 months ago and did this, and about to embark on visits to Villa Rica City Council, Temple City Council, Bowden City Council, other places across the county, just to visit with the different government entities to talk about what's happening. The Carroll County school system serves approximately 72% of the K-12 children in Carroll County. And it's our obligation to do the best we can to help every one of those children learn, grow, and succeed every day. And the exciting news I have for you today is that we've had an outstanding last 12 months of school with those young people. Our teachers, our administrators, bus drivers, all of our folks are doing an excellent job. And I can report to you that there's a lot of things happening that you should be proud of as county commissioners. We do have for you, and we left it at your place, a copy of our annual report. There's a lot of very, very good information in that report. I hope that you'll have the time at some point to look through it. I'm not going to sit here and read that to you. I will share a little bit of highlights with you. We also have at your place a copy of what we call our vision commitment card. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that at the very end of my remarks today as I get started. One of the things that when you look at a school system, you look at what is the viability of the enrollment. Is the school system growing? Is it stagnant? Is it losing population? And what does that mean? One of the things that I wanted to share with you today is that for the 5th consecutive year, we have grown in our enrollment. We're up approximately 137 students this school year, which is a good number, and that it's enough, but it's not too much. Good, steady growth is something that we look forward to. And as I said, for this 5th consecutive year, we're up. Over that 5-year period, we're up about 462 students over the 5-year period. So we're excited about that. Back when the economy had turned down in 2010, 11, 12, we had hit a point where our enrollment stalled for a lot of different reasons. And now that it's on the upward trend, that is a very, very good thing for us. A second thing, when you look at school systems and their impact on the community, obviously is the how do we do with graduating students ready to either enter the workforce, to enroll in colleges, or to enlist in the military. And when you look at our past year, we are tremendously blessed to report to you that we've had the best year ever in the history of Carroll County schools with a graduation rate of 91.7%. Now, that's a district average graduation rate across the 5 schools. Being a multi-high school district, it is extremely difficult to get a graduation rate over 90% for the district. And not only is ours really good, it's actually, when you look at multi-high school district, we're in the top 5 districts in the state relative to multi-high school districts graduation rate. So it's something that not only are we proud of because of our children and our teachers and all the people who work in the school system, we hope our community will be proud of that. And we commit to the fact that even though we're excited about that, we still have a lot of work to do, because that means that there's about 8% of our children who are not graduating on time. So we're just as committed to continuing to work for those children as we are for the children who have graduated. One of the other things that you look at relative to school systems is how are we doing academically relative to those around us, those across the state, even across the southeast and the nation. When you look at our school system right now, we're in the top 18% of school districts in Georgia. Again, that's something we're quite proud of. When you look at the fact there's over 180 school districts in the state, there's been steady growth in that area over the last several years. And within that number, we're really, really proud of our elementary schools, who were in the top 5% of all elementary schools in the state of Georgia. So again, blessed because of the performances that we're seeing, the work that our people are doing across the school system. Would like to highlight a couple of specific things relative to this past year. Whitesburg Elementary School, one of our smaller communities, small elementary school. Everybody knows where Whitesburg is. Really proud of their performance over the last 2 or 3 years, but especially proud this last year. They were at that time, and currently are, the only public elementary school in the nation, not just in Georgia, not in the southeast, in the nation, to be triple STEM certified. Hopefully you've heard about STEM education: science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a great focus, not only in Carroll County schools, but every school system in the state is focused on STEM education because of what it means for children after they graduate from school and enter the workforce, and the type of skills that they can take into the businesses as they go to work. Well, Whitesburg last year was invited to Missouri to the STEM Education Conference, and there were only 3 schools in the nation invited. Whitesburg was one of those 3. The other 2 were both charter magnet schools. They were not traditional public schools, and Whitesburg was the only one that was a traditional public school invited to that. So that is an example, and I can give you many, many more of the good things that are happening for children as we try to provide them with premier experiences in a number of different ways. Another accomplishment this past year that hopefully you are proud of, just like we are, is the opening of our new Performing Arts Center. It has turned out to be a really beautiful facility, and it has been used quite a bit, not just by the school system, but by the entire community. Ms. Arian told me the other day that we've had, in the first 12 months, over 350 events that we've hosted at our Performing Arts Center. And so it's the college uses it, the community uses it, the schools use it. We have outside groups come in to use it. We use it as a training facility, with our teachers. So it's just used in a number of different ways. And I do want to say to the commission again, we appreciate your partnership, because if you remember, you helped us in the efforts to get that property in the land swap that we did with you. And that has proven to be a really good site, and we're fortunate to have partners like the commissioners who were willing to work with us to help us, and in helping us, you've helped our entire community. Just recently, we worked with you to help clear the front bank. I don't know if you've noticed that, for those of you who've been around the bypass. Worked with DOT for nearly 2.5 years to get them to finally agree to that. But with that, we appreciate the county and all the work that's been done to help us with that. So a lot of good partnerships in that area. The third thing I'd like to give you an update on from this past year is a subject that probably has gotten more attention than any of us would like for it to get, but it is something that is out there in the public right now, and that's school safety. You know, it's rightfully so because of things that have happened across our nation. It's a very visible, a very open, very discussed topic. And, you know, all of us would agree that, you know, if there's one group that we want to keep safe on a daily basis in our country, it would be our children, especially when they're at school. We, like so many school districts, have focused on that. And what I can report to you and what we're extremely proud of and very thankful to our Board of Education, took the leadership to work with us to invest nearly $2.5 million over the last 18 months to improve school safety across our schools with cameras, access doors, and many other safety measures that we have and are currently putting in to our schools. And again, we appreciate our board's leadership in working with us on that. But that's something, again, we feel like as commissioners, you want to know that we're taking proactive steps to do that. We're very fortunate we've not had an incident of that type here, and we do not want that if we can prevent it. So we're working diligently to make sure it doesn't happen. Finally, the last thing I would say, I want to come back to this little card that I mentioned that we had for you up there. Our school district is fortunate to have a lot of really valuable partners in this community, one of those partners being Southwire. And over the past several years, because of our relationship with Southwire through the 12 for Life program and a number of other programs, we've witnessed how they as a business really focus their efforts. And one of the things they do is they have a set of commitments that their organization lives by. This past year, working with teachers, parents, students, our Board of Education, we coalesced around a set of vision commitments that are listed for you here on this sheet. And let me just take just a second to share those with you, because these help guide everything that we're trying to do in the Carroll County school system. First and foremost, you know, our number one job is to focus on the learning of children. That's the number one reason that we exist, and we acknowledge that and we embrace that, and hopefully every decision that we make will be around focusing on learning for children. The second thing that we want to make sure we do for our children is to provide premier experiences, whether it be in the classroom with a teacher, whether it be on the use and grow from. We want to do a really good job of maximizing our talent. The best organizations are very clear about taking the talent they have and using that talent. But we're serious about not just the adult talent, but how do we maximize the individual talent of every student that we have in our school system. And that's a third focus. Our fourth focus, and I hope this is something that you will be very proud of, and we've really pivoted over the last 3 or 4 years in our schools and across the district to make sure we're taking steps to serve our community, that we're teaching our young people good citizenship, we're teaching them how to give back, and that we as the adults in the school system are also focusing on how do we give back to our community just as our community gives back to us. And finally, the last commitment that we have is to practice good stewardship. And we're very proud, again, to have a great partnership with our Board of Education. And over the last 8 years to have come out of a very difficult economic situation back in 2010 and 11, and be in a much better place now where we can make some really good decisions for young people and do some really good work. We recognize that we have a tremendous impact on the quality of life of Carroll County. We have a tremendous impact on the economic development of Carroll County. And we take this very, very seriously. And we're very proud of what we have done And again, to you as our county commissioners, a group that we work closely with, we wanted you to know our commitment to continue to do that, and we wanted to make sure that we provided you with information on the results that we're producing. I'll be glad to answer any questions that commissioners might have, or anything that you'd like for us to take back and discuss or look at. We'll be glad to take that back to our Board of Education.
Anybody got any questions?
Just like to thank you for the job y'all do. Thank you very much. I know it's a hard job, and we appreciate what you do.
We commend you on your achievements, and we appreciate you and your staff, and we appreciate the partnership with you. And thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us today.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Next on the agenda is Regional 6 Advisory Council presentation. And Michelle, do you want to give us any? Steve Spivey is here, I believe, as chair of the Statewide Leadership Council.
I attended an ACCG meeting a couple of weeks ago for us developing, as county commissioners, for our health platform to take to the state legislature in January. And that's how Steve and I met, through various conversations that were being presented that day. And in conversation, I thought it was a good idea he'd come and share some stuff with us. I thought it would be important for us to know about, because I didn't know some of this. So, great. Anyway, so Steve, I'll let you, I'm sorry I didn't get your biography or anything. It's just casual, and you can.
Welcome.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
No, welcome.
There's no bio to me. I am who I am, okay? I'm just an old country boy, and have a child. Still, if you've got a child with a disability or a family member with a disability, if it does not affect you, your heart is not open. And that is what we do. I'm the chair of the Statewide Leadership Council, was the prior chair of Region 1, and there's a map right here, up in the top.
Sir, could we get you to take that microphone and
Do I
talk
need
into
that
it?
thing?
Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy. Okay. I promise that I'll talk into this, but Region 1 is up at the top. Of course, you can see where Region 6 is, and that covers quite a few counties. With me today is the chair of Region 6, which is Valerie West, the vice chair, Irene Shane, and you also have a judge who is on the council too, and it's a probate judge here. And then Jody Goodman was another person we just came out of a meeting with. But Region 6 for Carroll County, I must say, I will applaud y'all. All 3 of your seats are full. You have a full allotment. You are some of the very few throughout the state of Georgia that has taken time to appoint somebody to this council. What we do is that we report back to the commissioner of DBHDD on gaps in services for the people who have mental health issues, addictive diseases, intellectual developmental disability, or the DD side. But we move on here. So I don't want to. Oh, there it was. And this gives a little bit of what we do. And it says the Regional Advisory Council will communicate its recommendations to the following. And it says DBHDD is our number 1. That's who we report to, is Commissioner Fitzgerald. And we have a meeting once a year with her, and she takes us into 2 Peachtree, listens to what we've got to say, and a lot of it is acted on what we present. It's not on a deaf ear anymore like it used to be. And the regional field offices. There's field offices all throughout the state. Mine is in Cummings, Georgia. Valerie, where is Thomaston? Columbus, I'm sorry. Columbus is where the regional office is for 6. So throughout the state, there are regional offices that we do report to. I'm going to move on here for Okay. This talks about your number of appointments. Each county has a different allotment of appointees to the regional council. It's per the 50,000 people in your county. It goes by the last census. The last census was 2010. So 2020 is when you'll look at the census again, and I'm out of breath. But you'll look at your census again, and then you'll either align or realign with what your numbers are in the county. So you get one per every 50,000 in your county. How many are in Carrollton now? 116. So you still will have that 3, more than likely, unless you have a huge growth in 2 years. But it's per 50, so every one person over that 50,000, you get another person on the council. That person is there for 3 years unless they're filling an unexpired term. We have a lot of that. Somebody will get employed and they move off, they don't come, things like that. So they're replaced. They'll fill an unexpired term. To the completion of that unexpired term, then they will take on the first 3 years if you reappoint them, and then they're available for another 3 years. So a total of 6 years if they go from the time of initial appointment to the last of it. Any questions so far? Demographics. Everybody is big on demographics. And they look at white, black, the Latino population, they look at the Asian population. You want a full look at your community, at your county. You don't want just all providers, family members. We even want people on, and directed by law, matter of fact, to have people that have disabilities or consumers. So as you can see, we're diverse, and that's the way we want to be. That's the only way that we will figure out and find out where gaps in services are. And I'm going to run through this real quick because one thing that we're required to do, that has got a huge lag. One thing that we're required to do is report to our county commissioners. Each county, we're supposed to report back to you at a minimum of once a year. We ask every 2 months of our regional council members. So hopefully someone has talked with you or met. If not, we're in the process of changing that. We're going to be more transparent. We're going to be more open. We're going to let you know what we're doing, because the meeting that we just had, we talked about some of the services that there are gaps in, and they're not proficient. The thing's still not working, so don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to move on and let Irene Shane walk up and take the podium. She has the nuts and bolts of what we have done here recently, and I think you should have each one of those, each of you have a packet and questionnaire, all right?
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Irene Shane, and I am a representative on Region 6 from Fayette County. I am also on the statewide leadership council, and I am responsible. I'm the director of our priority planning since 2016. Let me start. There's 2 things that I want to mention to you, so I don't want to forget the second thing. But the first thing is that I think that we can all agree, that quality of life for people with mental illnesses, for people with addictive diseases, for people with intellectual developmental disabilities, the quality of life is key. It's dependent on community inclusion. And when we look at community inclusion, we are looking at things like housing. We're looking at employment. We're looking at peer support services. We're looking at, are there dentists who will serve children with autism? All kinds of things. That's you folks. You're interested in that. But also DBHDD is interested in that. And our job in terms of being on the advisory councils and being on the statewide leadership council is to try to strengthen that connection between what you and what your community is doing and what DBHDD could be doing in the community, could be doing better. But also the other side of it is that our job is to try to, as much as possible, connect the individuals in your community with DBHDD services. So we provide, every 2 years, we provide DBHDD with 3 priorities for each region and 3 priorities for the state. That's what they have asked us, and it's a big process to go through to get down to 3 of them. And we have been doing that, we did that last year. And we still don't think we got enough of DBHDD's attention in terms of what those priorities are. So we decided we need to strengthen our data. And we launched last year a full year project that was called the Delphi Study. And the Delphi Study invited 327 experts in the state of Georgia, in the United States, and actually a few people from abroad as well. We set up 21 questions for them, 21 scenarios with questions. We invited them to participate in this process. And I have to tell you that there was no payment to them. They didn't even get to know the names of the other people in the process. That's part of the Delphi, is that no one has more status than someone else, so you don't share any names. And you have the end product of that. The Delphi process is the people who said they would participate, they are sent a survey, which was a scenario, questions, a set of those. They respond to them, we get them back, we summarize the cohort group's answers, we send that back out to them and say, would you like anything to be eliminated? Would you like anything to be elaborated? Would you like other changes? They send that back to us. We again summarize, send it back to them. They send saying the same thing. And what it comes back to us is it's basically a consensus from that cohort of experts about that particular, in answer to that particular question. So if you look on page 11 of the thick document, this is our final report from that Delphi study. On page 11, it shows you the 21 topic areas for the questions. The introduction to this, we wrote it to be as short as possible so that most of the document could be the consensus answers to the 21 questions. So it shows you that question 1 is rural health care in Georgia. It's on page 13, so if you just flip that page, you see this is question 1, rural health care in Georgia, and it tells you which cohort groups answered this question, and then you see the scenario they were presented with, the question they were presented with, and the Delphi answer is their consensus answer of that cohort group. And you'll notice some of them are long, some of them are short. This one happens to be 4 pages long, but it has fabulous information, fabulous information. And so what we did then with this Delphi study is we said we need to use the Delphi study to come up with a statewide questionnaire that anybody in the state can fill out, any citizen in the state can fill out, that tells us about the services and what the needs are. So the other document you have is the questionnaire that we developed. This has been launched across the state. Anybody can fill this out, so it can be an individual who is in need of services, it can be family members, it can be judges, it can be police officers, it can be anybody can fill this out. And what we will do is get a good look at some of the key issues that DBHDD needs to grapple with. The only identifier on this is county. So someone doesn't have to say, well, I have a disability or I have a family member with a disability or anything. They just need to say what county they live in. And that is so we can take every other answer and combine it, every other question and combine those together and say, okay, in this county, The Georgia Crisis and Access Line was only recognized by only 20% of the people knew about it, and of that 20%, 50% were unhappy and 50% were happy with it. So you can see how that works. So that's what we're doing this year. This is going out, and we will in 2019 then develop three recommendations or three priorities from each county, and then 3 for the state. Hopefully your Regional Advisory Council members are talking with you, but also I'm hoping that you can give them any opportunity possible to come and have this. We will copy them. We also have it on SurveyMonkey, so it can be done electronically, so that they can get, we're looking at thousands of these that we would like to collect over about the next 6 or 8 months. And the second thing I wanted to say, one was that quality of life issue that DBHDD works on, but the other one that's related but sometimes doesn't get talked about but is important to us is prevention and early intervention. It's one thing to service people who have a disability, but we also, DBHDD and the Regional Advisory Councils and the Statewide Leadership Council, want to work very hard on prevention and early intervention so that we don't have the problem continue to grow. Any questions?
How are you getting your survey out? Is it online, or are you
Yes.
mailing these?
Right now, we've just launched the written copy. We'll have it on SurveyMonkey. It will go out. I will give an example of Region 6. We, at the last meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, a representative from Peach County, which is a rural county, said, I need 120 of those by next Wednesday. And we said, we'll get them to you. And she was taking them because they were having a big community meeting. And then she told me that she will, if she has any left over that don't get filled out, she will put a table at the dollar store, outside the dollar store, and she will make sure that everybody that goes in the dollar store fills one out. So we're working on ways of distribution. Right now, the main distribution is going to be through the advisory council members, and we have across the state about 250. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions?
Well, thank you, Ms. Shane.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our board members we've appointed recently Jody Goodman, who is our part-time coordinator for the mental health, and then Salita Kavanaugh, who has a brother who has disabilities, and then Judge Kaysen. So those are the 3. And Betty, I guess y'all go, quarterly to a meeting?
We have 6 a year.
6 a year, excuse me. Okay.
But I'll make sure that y'all have all the information, and if you can get it out to your constituents, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else to add? Well, thank you all very much for coming. All right, well, let's review the agenda items for our meeting for Tuesday, October the 2nd. Starting with 9-1, we'll have an appointment to DFAX, and I'll need your help with that, I think. So we'll address that on Tuesday night. The next item, which is 9-2, consideration to adopt the comprehensive plan for the period of 2018 to 2038. Janet Hyde, County Planner. And I'd like to welcome Ms. McPherson as a city councilman from Villarica. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm coming to you today to let you know that we have received an email from Three Rivers Regional Commission. You may remember that we submitted the comprehensive plan to them for review. They wrote back saying that the Georgia Department of Community Affairs has approved the Carroll County 2018-2038 Comprehensive Plan update. So I just need a vote from you all to adopt this.
Okay, let's see. Now, is that, let me see. As far as viewing the specifics, does anybody have any questions on the,
Oh, wait, that's the comprehensive plan, that's
let's see. Let me see the form we're supposed to approve. Hang on just a second.
There's a resolution in your packet.
Resolution. The short resolution for whereas county approved the 20. Okay.
Right.
Just that short little,
Mhm.
okay, nothing that we have to, okay, great. Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Hyde? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
9.3 is service delivery resolution, and consideration to approve the joint resolution of Carroll County, Georgia, City of Bowden, City of Bremen, City of Carrollton, City of Mount Zion, Town of Brookville, City of Temple, City of Billerica, City of Whitesburg, and adopting the service delivery agreement. And Stacy Blackman, County Attorney, will cover that for us.
things are supposed to go that way.
And I think Gerald Pilgrim's going to provide an introduction, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, just kind of wanted to just address a few little things with y'all, just kind of about the service delivery strategy. And this is kind of to update some of the members that have not gone through this before, which I don't believe we've done this since 2012. We had a little update in August, but it was a map change. Kind of give y'all a little bit of a background. There's some more detailed information that you'll have in y'all's packet. But the service delivery, it's required from the state of Georgia for all counties and cities to show how they operate and how services are provided. Counties and cities must also show how each service is funded and help reduce the duplication of services throughout the community. So it's helped reduce for double taxation purposes. Carroll County is very fortunate. The cities and the counties have a strong working relationship. Many of y'all know Bill Osborne, who's a city administrator in Temple. He was formerly the city manager of Douglasville, and he just comments on how well it is to work with Carroll County compared to the way the relationship between Douglasville and Douglas County, their relationship, where they were always at odds, always fighting, spending lots of money fighting each other on just simple things that they could cooperate with. Tim Grizzard, who's the city manager of Carrollton, also remarks on how positive that this has been for regional success, that what's good for Bowden is good for Carrollton, it's good for Billerica. So that's the spirit. This cooperation, it comes from the chairman and then you as the board, that y'all, the emphasis that y'all put on staff and us to work with the cities to try to help make sure they're successful. So I think that's good, and that's good for all the citizens in the community. The current service delivery that y'all are looking at was triggered due to the comprehensive plan, which Janet just talked about there. It's required to be passed by October 31st, and there's some penalties that if we don't do that, and it's one that we either have to do it then when the next census happens or every 10 years. But this document is open, that y'all can bring this back up at any time if y'all have a service that y'all do not like or a service that needs to be addressed to change. So there's some guidelines in that, but under this scenario, we got the October 31st, 2018 as kind of a drop dead date that we have to have this with all the cities to put us in a little bit of a bind and a little rush here. But it didn't just start in the last few weeks. In the spring of this year, representatives for the cities all met several times. They met and discussed service delivery and things that they would like to see incorporated into this plan that y'all have. And they asked for some changes on some formulas to simplify the formulas. They also asked for us to look at some language in adding programs that we use for subsidies for the RECTA programs. And then also looked at, like with the jail and the animal shelter, we still had that we were thinking about building a jail. And we still had the animal shelter being out there on Zizek Street and on city property. So we needed to address, like, we have a jail, Here's how it goes. So they've had all this, they've had these meetings. They kind of told us some of the highlights that they wanted to address. Then, as y'all know, we had a busy spring in the summer with T-Splosh coming, the budget, trying to get all the cities on board with that. Then August came and we started working and incorporating their language. The county attorney, all the staff, we went to them, Charles Pope, Ben Skipper, all the departments were actually asked, how do y'all operate? Look at this document, define what y'all do, how do y'all work? And we did that with EMA. Fire was a 5-page long document section of the thing, and we simplified it to 3 paragraphs. We have Carrollton, we have Bremen, we have the county fire department. We work together. It was something that I think it helped Stacy just make sure that if we put it in the document, we had to do it, so we're providing the services. We simplified some of the other things along that lines. We incorporated soccer language. We actually, the first time the sheriff was actually said, how do you operate? How does the jail operate? The sheriff took that language and changed the language of how he operates with the cities that have municipal courts. That, if they have their prisoners, he's willing to house their prisoners. Here's what he does. So, they were very, involved with this. The cities then, in August, middle of August, the chairman had a meeting with the mayors. There were some council members present, city clerks present, managers and administrators, depending on their government. They were asked to look at it, look at some changes. Then, if there were certain areas that they wanted to address, he met with them, and we sent the appropriate staff, like Charles, I think, went out and kind of addressed a few things with Bowden that they wanted to confirm with. Went out there and addressed that to make sure they were good with how it was operating. So everything kind of worked out. That's what you have before you. There's still been some errors and corrections. You'll have one that Commissioner Morgan pointed out to us a minute ago that we're going to get adopted, and it was some good changes that will help us to help our convention bureau, help our cities that are promoting that, and help us do some promotion on there. So some good changes on that. One of the things that we're really, if we couldn't get this, we already talked about we could jeopardize some funding from the state. And, eventually we would get through all those things. But the thing that we would never overcome are the communities like Gwinnett County and Douglas County, and Paulding County has even done this, where they have fought with the cities over this thing, and they have spent taxpayer dollars to the tune of Gwinnett County was millions of dollars over fighting. And we have a council member present that they'll be looking at it this month from Villa Rica. That's not what Carroll County's about. And when we're looking at that, and it's something that I think we're proud of, is it a perfect document? No, that it's better than what we had previously. We're getting the right information. Stacy was providing us some good information on not what we think, not some misconceptions or preconceptions, but what's really the case, that this is something that we can all work together. So we've got some questions. I know you're going to have some questions about that, but I want to address one thing. I see Mr. Crosby back here, and he's been pretty faithful at the meetings. And the county had previously said that senior services are a city issue. That's kind of what it said in the previous document. And this one, and this is because of Mr. Crosby's efforts, and it's something in the board and kind of what the direction that I think that y'all have been in, the direction y'all wanted to, we're going to be looking at exploring and doing some more things like with the transportation for seniors and more things that what we as the county can be doing for seniors. And that's Mr. Crosby right over there. That was the cause of that. So,
yay, Mr. Crosby.
Thank you. I think Gerald explained that very well. So what you have is a resolution. This is a joint resolution between the county and all the cities. And we have to have the county sign the agreement, the city of Carrollton, and then I believe 50% of the remaining municipalities within the county that have at least 500 in their population. So that'd be 50% of Bowden, Mount Zion, Temple, Villa Rica, and Whitesburg. So we, based on talking to the cities, we'll have the necessary approvals we need, and all of the cities we think are going to be presenting this month, but we have a simple joint resolution approving the service delivery agreement in the form that you all approve once you have a chance to look at that, and then authorizing the mayors, mayor pro tem, and the chair to sign the agreement and take all necessary actions to comply with the law. And so I think you have before you lots of reading with the drafts showing, you have one showing the changes from the 2012, and then I think you have a page that shows that, page 2 that we corrected with Commissioner Morgan that had some good thoughts on that. And so, and you also have a memo kind of summarizing the big kind of bullet points, what were changed in each section for each service. So I'm not sure if you want to, if you've had a chance to review this, or if you have specific questions, or at this point, we're open to any questions or how you want to proceed.
Are all the cities on board?
I think there's one that we're not sure will participate. So, but otherwise, we're good.
Well, and the good thing this time is in Villa Rica, we get to add soccer. We never had soccer in recreation. Because you couldn't get part of the reimbursement, so we can change and add soccer in here. There's a flat fee that goes to the cities for recreation, but before, soccer wasn't listed as a sport for that. So, and one thing I would say as far as Mr. Montreal or somebody that's not been through this before, is to look through this and the city or the township that you represent, look and see how it impacts them, if there's any question, problem, or whatever. I think that's, anybody got any questions?
I have a few, and Gerald's like, oh my God, she has some more. I mean, we've been on the phone like for 3 days straight now, because, yes, the minute I got a hold of it, I read. I just want to, on the airport here, it says at the bottom, since the facility provides a countywide service, any such funding provided from the respective county general funds. Currently, we do not provide any funding for the airport, right? But this is opening it up if we ever decide to.
I'll have to look in that, but
I just don't remember funding the airport.
we could, but we do have to. We actually have some funding that we do have to give them, and it's out of. It's actually mandated out of our SPLOST funds.
Okay.
It was through House Bill 170. It was some things over there. It amounts to a couple of $1,000s a year that we have to do, but we've actually done. We exceed that. That's money that's actually Charles cuts the grass over there. That is something that's a huge amount of money. We actually just recently provided a defibrillator out at the airport because Commissioner Lee's request. So we actually do fund them, and Carroll County is responsible because we get the tax proceeds from the sales tax for that.
Okay. And then, yes, you answered my convention tourism. I think, let me see if there's anything else.
I think before Tuesday, I want to talk, discuss the convention tourism services. I think I want to look at that, just specifically for each city, on how it's done, and look at that a little closer. But does anybody else have any specific questions that, I know we have to read all of this before, or look at, and they did a great job with redlining the changes, and so thank y'all very much for that.
I know what my other question was. At the very end, it talked about the Board of Appeals. At the very, very end, page 3 of, I guess at the end, if we all don't agree with something or whatever, I'm just,
I think that's it. We have to have a plan if we have a dispute with the cities on any kind of land use or
that's
zoning.
what it's Board of Land Use Conflict Appeals. So I'm just curious, have we appointed people to this? Are we supposed to appoint people? This is one board I've never heard of, so I just was curious. Sorry. Gerald, we ran out of time today.
And I
didn't
think
ever
that's
get to the
one of
last
those ones that
page.
Ms. Mabry did. These are some statutorial languages that had to be included, and I could not address it. But
Okay,
we'll have
so
the
that's
answer
something by
before
Tuesday. Yeah,
before Tuesday. We'll have
find
that.
it.
But from my understanding, and Stacy may have a different thing, that
Or we appoint it when a problem comes up. I just didn't know. I just thought, and I saw that, I said, who was that?
Here we go.
Oh, Ben knows it.
Stacy, you wasn't supposed to make me get up.
I know.
Would you state your name, sir?
Ben
Is that the-
Skipper.
Is that the one Mark Taylor's on? Is that what this board is?
No,
okay,
what
something
this
else.
board would be dealing with when you have an annexation dispute,
Correct.
that a city wants to annex in property and the county doesn't want them to annex in property, so.
Right, but I want to know who are the people,
The-
who are they
an
appointed?
arbitration
We've never
board.
had a dispute, so if we had a dispute,
Then
y'all
we
would
appoint.
appoint
Right,
one.
okay.
But otherwise, in the, I think within the last several decades, we've never had a dispute. So appointing them to a board would kind of be,
Right.
and then they would ask, what are we doing?
Well, I think I've been called several times for an arbitration board throughout in another county where they have issues like this,
Mhm.
and then you go through a little training, and then you're eligible to be on that arbitration board as far as the
Right.
decision or whatever.
But this is what that would be addressing, is when we have a annexation dispute.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good for something.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions on that? All right, 9.4, consideration to approve a resolution and ordinance restricting, amending Chapter 94 of the Code of Ordinances regarding traffic, vehicles, entering or staying upon restricted intersections. Stacy Blackman, County Attorney.
Thank you. This is, I think, by the way, I think on the website there's the resolution, but the proposed ordinance was not there, so I think you have that there before you.
Exhibit A.
So I apologize for that. But I know many of you received complaints about pedestrians being in the traffic intersections, and it's an unsafe condition. And Commissioner Tommy Lee specifically asked that we draft an ordinance for your consideration to address this. So I know this is very important to all of you to have that. And so we have this narrowly tailored is to hopefully comply with the court cases. And we've listed several intersections where you all have had complaints. They're the busy intersections, and it's the first 200 feet within those, and they're listed, and it's like Highway 27 and Columbia Drive and Linda Lane, Highway 27 and Bowden Junction Road, Highway 27 Stripling Chapel Road, Highway 113 with Linda Lane / Northside Drive, Highway 166 bypass with Maple Street, and then Highway 61 with several intersections, and then South Banwart Road and Northeast Hickory Level Road. So if there are any others that you know of, let us know, but those are the ones that we had heard about, and these are the busy roads. And so if we have, it says that no pedestrian who is in a vehicle, travel lane, median, sidewalk, or other area joining a vehicle travel lane of a restricted intersection may approach any vehicle in operation. And it also says that they may not, no pedestrian shall within a restricted intersection approach any vehicle in operation unless the vehicle is legally parked at the curb or the shoulder. And no person shall be within a median of a restricted intersection unless that person is in the process of crossing the road in a safety zone or crosswalk or otherwise legal manner. And we have certain exceptions for like law enforcement or someone lawfully crossing the highway, or if they're repairing their vehicle, something like that. And then the enforcement would be by our law enforcement and codes. And the penalty would be they would forfeit not less than $25 nor more than $300 for each violation. So I don't know if you have any comments or questions.
Anybody have anything for Ms. Blackman?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 9.5. This is load and wheel limits ordinance and resolution. And Charles Pope, Public Works Director. Welcome,
Thank you.
Mr. Pope.
Chairman, first I would like to thank Gerald, Mr. Skipper, and Ms. Blackman for helping us get all this put together to where we are now. what we're trying to do is pass an ordinance so we can stop large trucks from cutting through our rural roads and tearing up our roads. Just yesterday, about 12 o'clock, we had a large truck to turn off of 101 onto South Van Wert and broke down some power poles and pulled the power slap out of one house. So that's what we're trying to stop. What we've done is went through, I've done a lot of research, and we come up with the six-wheel ordinance, which that will sort of tie into Villarica and the city of Carrollton. So if they come out of the city of Villarica or go into the city from our county roads, they will all be the same weight limit or axle weight. And also, one of them is the covered load ordinance, that you have to keep your load covered anytime you're hauling anything, most especially trash, to the landfill or whatever. So this will give us a way to hopefully stop some of that litter.
Would that include pickups?
According to how big you are.
So, let's see. So we're not doing it by weight, it's going by axle. 6 axle.
Yeah, two axle, it'd be 6 wheels.
2 axles, 6 wheels.
How are you gonna address I brought a picture of some trucks here to show you. That'll be a 6-wheel truck. And then anything over that, you would go to a 3-axle truck, which would be overweight.
Okay, so that one's allowed. Yeah, okay.
What about your 6-wheel trucks pulling tandem trailer axles, dually tandem trailer axles?
You talking about farm?
It's on the truck, not on the trailer. The ordinance is addressing the truck, which is 6 wheels, anything over 6 wheels.
Is this going to
So-
restrict dump trucks?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Tandem dump trucks, this will restrict their.
Yeah,
Right, so any dump trucks that is using Hayes Mill as a cut-through to
What if they're
bypass
going
Carrollton,
To a project on Hayes Mill?
that's exempt of everything. All pickups and deliveries in a route is exempt. So chicken trucks going to pick up the chickens at any chicken farm, log trucks picking up harvest timber, they're all exempt from this.
So we're just
But
talking.
the ones that aren't exempt is the ones that come up 166 and then turn over Pleasant Hill, use Stripling Chaplain, then come out at the middle school, and then take 27 south to bypass, because they don't have a pickup or delivery on Stripling Chaplain.
So it's just concerning the truck, any vehicle over 6 wheels is what this ordinance is gonna be.
Yeah, it's a truck limit. So the truck would be the 6-wheel.
Well, we definitely need it. I mean, just day before yesterday, we had another truck get hung up on the railroad tracks at Whitesburg, and that's happening more and more often.
If we can get this ordinance passed, there'll be a sign at 166 in Jones Mill. So if they cut through there, then the county will have the authority to give them a ticket.
Always hurts in the pocketbook.
And who enforces this?
It would be all of us. It could be the state patrol, the county sheriff's office, and code enforcement.
And
It could
the
be
city of
any of us.
City of Whitesburg.
City of Whitesburg
Yeah.
could do it.
Any law enforcement will be able to enforce this.
All law enforcements, because at this time, the state patrol is advising my office and Charles's office that they can't do anything with the cut-throughs because we don't have a truck ordinance.
Because I saw big 18-wheelers carrying, I don't know exactly, I don't remember what they were carrying, but they came off of 166 and went up Blandenburg Road through there, and it was like, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So this will be great.
You know, Charles, I've always said any truck over 6 wheels. I mean, that's exactly what I asked for last year, because most of your farm vehicles are gonna be 6 wheels or less. So I appreciate you doing that.
So you saying you understand this one?
I believe this is
I'm
We also
saying-
got this with the help of Villarica, who had worked on.
I'm saying it's a lot
getting
better than
something.
what y'all presented last year.
Right, because Billerica struggles with what the locals would know as Pumpkin Town Road, Mirror Lake Road. Charles has already gone and did side road treatments there where the oversized trucks are beating off the edge of a newly paved road for the city of Billerica.
He
Because,
did that at Hickory level also. where they-
right, at Hickory level too.
We did.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
We look
Thank you.
forward to this.
Any more questions?
Thank you,
No,
Charles.
sir.
Dan, thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
No, lady.
Oh, yes, sir.
Just not for them to review and look over and
Right. There should be a copy of the financials for you to look at that,
You'll have the financials that'll have the current, it'll have current expenditures, current
expenses.
receipts
Receipt.
and expenditures. And then we also got the cash balance statement that is there for y'all for where we are. Just on a positive note, you'll see, we were able to go back and we've got year comparisons that are on there, but the year-to-date from last August 31st to this August 31st, we're up $1.7 million in cash, which is up from 16 also, which is, so we're y'all made some right decisions and we're going to be able to get us there. We're getting closer to get our 25% on our fund balance. And there's, some other stuff in there, but just on the kind of expenditures, y'all's budget approved $1 million additional expenditures this year than last, but we're running about $276,000 below previous year expenditures, so.
That's great. I've asked for our next work session to have some issues for HR issues, so I was going to, for us to discuss some things in our work session, so I'll get the questions to your department, Ms. Ann, for that, and to you all, just for us. And also, it's everybody's new, but I think that we need, before the budget process comes up, to look at what we currently do with vacation time, comp time, those kind of things, salaried individuals. So let's look at all that so we're all on the same page. Well, I'm not over there to make a motion. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion to adjourn the work session.
Thank you. All in favor? We stand adjourned.